We used to have problems of scarcity. Not enough food, not enough knowledge of health, not enough power, not enough electricity, not enough jobs, not enough access to education, not enough access to good employment. And then something changed. And here we are in the 21st century with the opposite problems. Problems of abundance. We have too much. We have too much food going into landfills, too many people, too many of whom have too easy access to really powerful medications. And we find ourselves with problems related to the coordination of our abundance. How can we ensure that the abundance in City A meets the need in City J? And how can we ensure that the bumper crop in City J can be funneled to the need that exists in City B? In this section, we open Pandora's box, learning how blockchain solutions are being applied to essential industries to help them better coordinate, allocate, distribute, and manage the supply chains, and better leverage the abundance that we are blessed and cursed with in the 21st century. Before we launch into how blockchain technologies and solutions are being applied to essential industries today, let's take a moment to zoom out to understand some of the meta trends that are impacting industries around the world so we can better contextualize the solutions that are being brought forth, represented by blockchain-powered dApps and smart contracts. One of the first major trends is remote work and the gig economy. Before COVID, we were heading in the direction of increasingly mobile and remote workers. From the rise of the gig work to work from home, employment in the years to come is guaranteed to look dramatically different than that which came before, and thus so too must organizations and their human resource practices. One example of how blockchains are helping organizations better align with this more fluid workforce is by enabling streaming payments. Smart contracts and dApps, such as Sablier, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, are enabling the streaming of payments, allowing workers to get paid instantly by the minute, not the 1st and 15th of the month, not in quarter-hour increments, but equitably. 17 minutes of work is rewarded with 17 minutes worth of payment. Learn more about Sablier Finance in the show notes below. Another important meta-trend that is taking place across the globe is the introduction of the Internet of Things and automation. The Internet of Things is all of our smart devices, and when they're powered by blockchains, these devices can begin to talk to each other, sharing and coordinating the information they hold to empower accurate, efficient, secure, and automatic delivery of IoT services. The Internet of Things applications are, by definition, distributed. Your smart fridge is not managed by the manufacturer, but by each user. Blockchains, sharing in this system's design, will be central to how future smart devices communicate directly between each other, doing what blockchains do best, keeping a ledger, a trail, between the devices of how they interact and potentially in which state they are and how they are quote-unquote handled. This is important when we think of the issuances of recalls and warranties. Blockchains are the building block upon which the software of our things, our Alexas, our smart fridges, our smart cars, our smart thermostats, our smart doorknobs, can process transactions and interactions. These can include the smart contracts, which, as we'll remember, are automatically carried out when a specific condition is met, for instance, regarding the condition of goods or environmental conditions, to support our smart devices in executing their specific process. This way, blockchain technology can improve not just compliance in the Internet of Things environment, but also the IoT features and cost efficiency. The next important trend for us to look towards is the flattening of organizations, and this is exactly what DAOs are: distributed autonomous organizations. The essential feature of DAOs is that their operating rules are programmed, meaning that they are automatically applied and enforced when the conditions specified by the governance rules in the software are met. This differentiates them from traditional organizations whose rules form guidelines that somebody needs to interpret and apply. DAOs enable the decentralized method of community power, delegation of direction, decision making, and execution of those decisions. With some shared understanding of the trends that we are incurring by heading into the future, let's look to the left to think about some of the problems that the existing information infrastructure involves, so we can properly prepare ourselves to begin thinking of the possibilities embedded in blockchain solutions. Many of the problems of our current IT infrastructure is the honeypots that our service providers have become. Honeypot is the cutesy term for the data centers that our service providers sit on top of and rely on, that are host to a series of hacks that compromise the users and individuals involved in that service provider's operation, their vital information. We call them honeypots because these databases hold rich amounts of information that attract hackers to break these systems and require our service providers to invest an exorbitant amount of money into cybersecurity measures to keep their information and their clients' information safe. But a quick look around the headlines and you'll see that the hackers tend to be a few steps ahead of even the most advanced organizations. Many of us have been the victim of identity theft. Identity verification is one of the current holes of our existing security and privacy information technology structures. How can our services on the internet verify that you are really you and that that credit card you just gave is actually authorized to make this payment from the real owner of the credit card? This incites a lot of fraud. For example, with blockchains, the hack that recently stole 70 million consumers' credit card information from the Target store would not have been possible. Because this is how it would have worked. Instead of Target having your credit card information, your home address, and your identity, you would go to the checkout, like you do now, but instead of handing over your credit card to pay, you'd pull out your smartphone and take a snapshot of a QR code displayed by the cash register. The QR code contains all the information required for you to send your blockchain-based digital asset to Target, including the amount. You'd click confirm on your phone and the transaction is done, including the conversion of dollars from your account into Bitcoin if you didn't own any Bitcoin or whatever other currency you were paying with. Target, in this scenario, would be happy because it has the money, which it can immediately turn into whatever other form of currency it wants to hold that money in, and it paid no or very low payment processing fees. You as the customer are happy because there's no way for hackers to steal any of your personal information, and the hackers are very unhappy because they don't have access to your information. So by doing this type of practice, this is reducing the vulnerability of businesses because they're no longer sitting on these honeypots. With atomic data, which is data that only exists in one location, not duplicated via dozens of aliases, databases, and accounts, us as consumers can better lend the information needed to our service providers during and only during the duration of service. This reduces the vulnerability of businesses greatly by removing their need to protect their honeypots of user information. In short, integrated interoperable databases, that's what blockchains are, improve service, delivery, and the customer experience. Imagine not having to have separate identity cards for each service you engage with. Imagine if the data each of those service providers generated through their serving of you, health records, tax documents, loyalty and rewards programs, membership levels, credentialing, I could go on and on, could all talk to each other in a secure, permissioned environment, and that permission was only granted by the holder of the data, you. This is exactly how Estonia has gone from being one of the newest and smallest countries to the innovation hub and model government that it is today. Estonia has been using distributed ledger technology for nearly 30 years to create an integrated environment for civic identifications to operate within. In Estonia, your public transit, municipal ID cards, driver's licenses, bank cards, healthcare records, and tax informations live on blockchain-based tools that enable these various bits of your digital and physical life to talk, share, and coordinate to provide you with a better service experience, service providers with more accurate data, and the government with more efficient processes for enforcing, regulating, and collecting the information they need to support the functioning of a civil society. eStonia is an amazing website where you can begin to learn about how the Estonian government is leveraging blockchains and distributed ledger technologies to create a modern civil society. With a clear understanding of some of the meta trends that are moving our society forward, some of the current fissures in our existing information technology systems, and how blockchains can provide service providers and their stakeholders with a more secure, transparent, frictionless environment, let's talk about some exciting use cases that are currently being forwarded. Beginning with charity and philanthropy. The United Nations has been arming refugees in camps with mobile phones. These phones are loaded with camp-specific currencies. The UN is giving these traumatized, displaced individuals choice. Instead of dropping generalized rations off for each family, refugees are now going to the camp store and using their camp-specific currency to purchase what their family wants from the store. The UN's blockchain experiment in refugee camps in the Middle East and Africa are providing refugees with choice and agencies with information about their clients. Give Together is another example of how everyday individuals can better participate and facilitate charitable donations. Give Together allows you to donate to a new charity each week with almost no loss to you. How does that work? How can we make donations without giving something of our own pocket? Well, each week an Ethereum smart contract determines a new charity currently on Give Together's list. Anyone with a blockchain wallet can stake a specific token that earns interest, called DAI, to the Give Together pool, and the interest from the pool is swept each week into the coffers of a new charity. DAI is a stable coin pegged to the US dollar and serves as the main method for donating on Give Together. Once your DAI is activated on the system, it will be exchanged for our DAI, which is a token that is redeemable to DAI at a 1-to-1 ratio that enables you to earn interest on your DAI and set a beneficiary of the interest. This is helpful for easily donating to causes or charities that you support. After your DAI is activated in exchange for our DAI and the beneficiary of your interest is set to the Give Together smart contract. When any funds are set or redeemed to this contract, they are immediately relayed to the charity of the week. At the end of each week, Give Together redeems all of the interest accrued by its contributors. In addition to activating your DAI on Give Together, you can also simply send any Ethereum-based token to the contract to have it sent to that charity of the week. A final example of how blockchains are creating friction-free environments for charitable giving is R-trees. This is another example of how DAI is being leveraged to create no-loss charity. Anyone can now stake their DAI with this organization, R-trees, and the interest that is accrued via the tokens you stake is swept to tree planting initiatives around the world. The next use case is real estate. And there's a few different ways that real estate can benefit from the leveraging blockchain technologies, the first being titles, recording the ownership of property. Next, automated legal agreements. Utilizing smart contracts for leases, purchase and sale agreements, this could all be made programmable such that specific actions automatically take place when certain milestones are hit, opening up opportunities for automated execution and enforcement of the agreements that support a real estate transaction. The next one is pretty obvious: payments, accepting rent, escrow, or purchase payments. Blockchains reduce settlement time to seconds instead of days or weeks, while only costing pennies in transaction fees, even with international buyers. The next is an exciting development, which is the fractional ownership of property. Fractional ownership of property through the use of blockchains, there can be opportunity to allow multiple parties to together own fractions of an individual asset, as opposed to today's model, which is primarily based on one party owning it. This increases accessibility by lowering the minimum amount of capital needed to get exposure to this asset class, which is real estate, while also allowing property owners to sell partial equity, thus providing liquidity. Realty, REALT, is one example found below of a organization that is currently applying blockchain to the real estate industry. The next example is in regards to supply chain management. In 2020, Avita launched a project to trace and verify the provenance of its vanilla supply using blockchains. And by using the blockchains, they will also allow customers to peek into that information. Another example is found in the fashion brand Covalent, who created a line of biomaterial called air carbon. By using blockchain software, fashion companies are able to track and disclose carbon impact data related to the production of its products, which are marketed as carbon negative. Covalent's metric is called carbon date, a 12-digit number stamped on the roughly 3 dozen SKUs in its product catalog. Items ranging from wallets to clutches to smartphone sleeves and tote bags. Consumers can see the data by visiting the Covalent website and entering their unique code. The carbon date is verified with footprint information from carbon accounting firm Carbon Trust, which created a cradle-to-cradle analysis of air carbon after its 2020 assessment. All this to say that blockchain technology is being used in some very compelling and creative ways to better manage and make transparent the supply chains. Fashion and cosmetics are not the only places where supply chains matter, though. Another exciting way that we're seeing the supply chains being shored up and made more visible is through the tracking of fishing, where companies can offer a premium to boats that fish more sustainably than others, or the Walmart example, which helps ensure that the food safety is visible and verified along the route. Next, let's turn to insurance. An important function of insurance is to smooth out risks and bring security for market participants. An example of decentralized insurance is Nexus Mutual, which offers insurance that covers bugs in smart contracts. Since everything is based on smart contracts in DeFi, vulnerabilities in the code of smart contracts is a fundamental risk for DeFi users. Decentralized insurances are still in their infancy, but it can be expected that a large amount of more sophisticated insurance models have the potential to emerge in the DeFi space in the near future. Now that's a more esoteric future-forward application, but one that could be really impactful today would be the implementation of blockchain-based car insurance, whereby the car only enjoys certain insured benefits while engaging in that activity, such as when it's being driven or parked, and the users only pay for their usage, not for generalized contracts of maybe I'll drive 12,000 miles this year and maybe we won't have a pandemic and maybe I won't drive at all. So this would ensure the insurance company has the most accurate information and the users are not paying more than their fair share for access to that service. This would likely eliminate the need for an army of appraisers and the duplicative paperwork and cross-referencing insurance companies engage in to verify the info that you provide is trustworthy. Healthcare is an exciting space where we see blockchain technologies having a real live impact. Blockchains and other distributed ledger tools have emerged in technical solutions related to the COVID-19 pandemic. For example, the UK's NHS recently announced that it is using software based on Hedera Hashgraph, which is a blockchain-based company, to actively monitor the temperatures of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccines throughout storage, because We're all learning just how important the storage of these vaccines are, and using blockchain technologies, again, related to the supply chain example prior, we can ensure that the products are being safely and securely and accurately stored so that when they're delivered and administered, that they are done so impactfully. The next arena of exciting application is education. So we've seen in this 2020 context that the Collaborative Charter Services Organization, which provides administrative support to several California public charter schools, implement a blockchain-based system for tracking COVID-19 infections amongst its stakeholders, the teachers, the staff, the students, all in anticipation of schools reopening. Collaborative Charter Services Organization is using Team.Care Network, an app designed by a blockchain healthcare information firm, to track the individual health and well-being of members across their educational community. The schools are currently focused on online-only education, so the rollout of this program will begin with on-site staff before expanding to teachers and students as they begin returning to in-person learning this spring, summer, fall, maybe. By using this app, which is compliant with the California Consumer Privacy Act and the California Privacy Rights Act, administrators will be able to tap into and make decisions based on real-time analytics while protecting the individuals that are contributing the information, allowing them to trigger mitigation plans in the case of positive COVID-19 tests. GiveNation is another example where we see the education industry finding an improvement in efficiency by incorporating a blockchain-based tool. GiveNation is a gamified learning and earning platform that helps kids learn financial literacy and the importance of giving by rewarding users, students, for their altruism, all from their smart devices. Another example in the education industry that doesn't have as large of an impact but is important would be the verification of credentials given by the institution that you receive that credentialing from. Your master's degree. Did you really graduate from Harvard? Your SHRM certification. Did you actually pass, or is that just on your resume? All of this could be verified transparently, securely, immutably on blockchain technologies. The final industry that we'll cover today is the government. This is the area of innovation and impact that I am personally most excited about. Tools such as Votum, which is a mobile verified voting for the 21st century, has the potential to make our voting system integrous once again. The examples that Estonia provides us shows us how we can have integrated tax payments for entire nation states and not have departments of bean counters looking through and harassing individuals who might have made a simple mistake on a highly complicated tax form. Below is information on both the e-Estonia tax process as well as Votum, this mobile verified voting platform. Both of these systems are based on blockchains and distributed ledger technology and are creating enormous efficiencies for the system and creating a lot more trust and validity in the institution. There are thousands of more potential applications and impacts that blockchain solutions will invite in the years to come, and I hope this quick overview and the links below provide you with enough context, enough information to continue your independent learning journey. I am confident that whatever industry you are interested in, be it entertainment, be it sports, there are a host of exciting and mind-warping applications and solutions being forwarded to make that service experience, that product, more efficient, more effective, more sustainable, and more transparent. This concludes our exploration of how blockchains are currently being used to better coordinate, collaborate, and create more sustainable communities. But this is just the beginning of the innovation cycle. More experimentation is needed, more scaling of these impactful practices and tools is needed, and so much of our world is broken, and thus there's never been a better time to begin applying solutions. Given the undeniable ways that humankind is connected globally, armed with tools that honor our shared interests and our shared assets, there has never been more hope to solve the intransient problems that we find ourselves mired in the 20th and 21st century. I'm grateful for your time and interest, and I hope you continue to learn about how these tools and services can be applied to essential industries that you're interested in. The future is bright, and blockchains represent the latest in a growing toolkit that will enable us to better serve, support, connect, and create a more just, sustainable world for the individuals that comprise our beautiful human race.